Hi, welcome, or welcome back if you were here in the past. It's been at least 10 years since I've been active on this channel. I have not uploaded anything in that time. And so I just wanted to come and give an update. First, let me just say thank you to those of you who have subscribed to this channel over time at some point in time. When I checked, I believe the number was 180 subscribers, and that means a lot to me. Back when I was active here, I don't think that YouTube was what it is now in terms of subscriber count. I was here just sharing my designs and trying to connect with other creatives and wasn't so much concerned about subscribers. So to have people actually subscribe, that is I'm very thankful for that. For those of you who are completely new here, I'll give you just a little bit of background about myself. I was an independent clothing designer, seamstress, and educator for more than 10 years. I started this work following my graduation from an undergraduate program where I received a bachelor's degree in apparel design and merchandising. And speaking of that, I have my actual plaque and degree right here. And I have not seen it in a very long time. I'm originally from Louisiana, and that's where I completed my undergraduate studies. And I was back in Louisiana recently for the first time in many, many years. This plaque was packed away in a box with many of my belongings, and I decided to get it out and bring it back with me. We're in 2025, and I received this in 2005. So it's amazing to me to realize that it's been almost 20 years since I finished my work in apparel design studies and received this degree. So once I completed my studies, I decided to just go into working for myself, designing and making clothing, primarily for women. And so I did that. I was initially selling my clothes online. The first place I sold online was Etsy. This was the summer of 2025 when Etsy was first starting. It was such a fun time being on there, getting exposure because it was nowhere nearly as saturated as it has become, and just connecting with others. So that's one of the first places where I sold my designs. That was on Etsy in the summer of 2005. In addition to that, I was a vendor at events in my community where I lived in Louisiana. I sold garments at various venues and events, and that was fun as well, connecting with people and customers, those who became customers and supporters. I also just sold to people that I knew, people who wanted custom items made. And then I also did consignment and wholesale to local boutiques where I was living. So I would say I have a pretty extensive background making clothing as well as marketing and selling my designs. In addition to that, I also taught classes. I taught people sewing and design in my home. I taught people in their own homes. I taught at a community center. I organized and carried out a summer sewing program for children. And I also taught in a craft store. So my experience there is pretty extensive as well, in the area of sewing and design education. Now, since my hiatus as a designer, many things have taken place in my life. The first major event was in the summer of 2014. I gave birth to my first child. But let me backtrack a little bit. I have been living in Hawaii now for over 11 years. And my arrival here pretty much coincided with the ending of my career as a designer. I gave birth to my first child in the summer of 2014. And I would say that the ending of my work started to happen after that, and pretty much it all wrapped up for me in 2015. I had a new baby, things were so different, a family, a home life. And so I just didn't really find the space to still do my design work. So that was the very first life event that kind of took me away from sewing, a very welcome event as well. Now, since then, I've given birth 2 more times. So now I have a 10-year-old as well as an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. So things have been very busy for me, to say the least. Another very big life event that took place is that in 2021, I became a widow. My husband, the father of my children, died after a 4-year struggle with a very serious and very rare bone marrow disorder. So that's something that the children and I have been processing for the past almost 4 years now, and that has really been taking up a lot of my time as well. Just, caring for and nurturing children who have lost their father, as well as tending to my own struggles in that area. And a final life event that I'll mention here is that in 2018, I returned to school and I returned to school to study toward a degree in clinical mental health counseling. Now, this was a 2-year program, but it took me 5 years to complete just because of life events. But I'm happy to say that I did complete the program in August of 2023, and I received a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. Following that time, or toward the end of my program though, I realized that I didn't really want to be a counselor anymore. And I do believe that this decision was influenced by my own struggles, things that I had faced in my own life, and not necessarily feeling as though I were in a position to offer those services to others. Now, I did really well in my graduate program. I did a 1-year internship where I counseled others, and I do think that I did well in the internship. But I have not pursued a license in clinical mental health counseling, and I don't really foresee that being something that I'm going to do anytime soon. But what I am interested in doing, and something that's been on my mind lately, is returning to my creative work in the area of sewing and design. And that's why I'm here now. So you may see that the name of this channel is Sankofa School. It used to be Fly Tie Clothing, which was the brand under which I designed and made clothes. However, going forward, my interest is in passing on my knowledge and skills to others, teaching people how to make the things that they're interested in making in terms of sewing. If you know anything about the word Sankofa, then you know that it means to go back and fetch or go back and get that which has been left behind in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding even. And so for me, it's a personal thing, a Sankofa back to that which I no longer engage with, back to that knowledge, wisdom, and those skills in the area of sewing and design. Going back to get that in order to pass it on to others. That's something that I've been doing with my own children, especially the oldest two. They enjoy sewing. They make various projects using the skills that I've taught them. And that's something that I would like to offer to others as well via this YouTube channel. Now, when I was in Louisiana, I was doing a lot of work in the community teaching sewing. That's not something I've done a lot of here in Hawaii. And at some point, I hope to do that, teach others in the community, children as well as adults. But I'm just not at that stage yet. However, when I was thinking about it, I remembered that I did do some community teaching many years ago. In the summer of 2014, I was invited to teach a sewing class to children at a local creative space that's no longer there, unfortunately. But it was a very beautiful space for children to go and do art and be creative and just express themselves. And so someone invited me in to teach sewing. And I did that. I taught boys and girls around ages 6, maybe to 9, how to make a very simple tote bag. And that was my first and last time so far, teaching sewing in the community here where I live in Hawaii. I was actually 7 or 8 months pregnant at that time when I taught the class. So it was a very interesting time and a very fun time for me as well. If you're interested, or I have little ones who are interested, and you allow them to watch videos here on YouTube, I would like to pass on that knowledge to you as well. You can come here and just watch videos of me, maybe me and my girls sewing and doing work in the area, showing you how to put things together. If you have some ideas you want to share on how to do something, we can maybe do some videos about that as well. That is really just my plan with Sankofa School. And so I hope that you would join us, and I really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any comments or questions, anything you would like to know about my background, my intentions with this channel, or anything like that, please feel free to leave it below and I will address it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.